Good evening, folks. Tonight we're going to be looking at quite a large item, and it's this 32-inch Bosch LED TV. This is the 32/191F3D, and it belongs to a colleague of mine who basically said it stopped working. There's no power LED coming on, and it just basically won't turn on. So he was going to bin this, and I said, well, don't bin it, let me have a look at it and see if I can fix it. Now, most TVs have not a feature as such, but basically if there's a power supply issue, the power LED will blink, or will give a code of blinks of light to let you know what the problem is. But this has got absolutely zero feedback at all. It does have, I know it's off camera, but it does have a rocker switch, and he did say that was crackling at one point, but it's also got a tactile power switch, power button to take out a standby. So yeah, he was going to bin this, so I thought we'll take a look at it. Even though we're not getting anything on the LED, I'm relatively convinced it is a power supply issue, and as I did tell him, so I'm not slagging him off behind his back, I told him basically Bosch is absolute rubbish. Bosch used to be a relatively good British brand, but I think it basically went bankrupt and is now owned by, or the brand is owned by Argos, and this is indeed where he purchased it. And you can tell that by the catalogue number on the back. You probably can't see that, 9135189D, which is a standard sort of Argos catalogue number. Yeah, so I thought we'll take a look inside it. I know it's, like I say, it's mostly off shot, but essentially once I open this up, this square will probably have the power supply behind it, or maybe one of the sides, and I'll adjust it appropriately. So what I'm going to do, guys, to keep the video a bit shorter, is I'm just going to pause the video, take all the screws off, and once I've done that, we'll take a look at the power supply and see if there's anything obvious. I'll see you in a minute. Hi folks, welcome back. Right, I've just taking the back cover off this TV then, and just looking at the board, it's actually a really nicely constructed board. It seems reasonable quality, nice quality PCB, and all the caps, there's none of them bulging at all. They're all really really quite good looking. There's no there's no problems at all with it. I can't really see the values on any of these because they're the way they've been put on the board, but yeah, they've got a couple of these quite long ones here. Yeah, but all the what do you call it, capacitors seem intact. So I think the next thing to do is going to start just checking things out, the obvious things we've got. So we'll check this fuse here. So I'm just use this croc clip on here on one side and use my probe on another. Yep, so the fuse is good. The fuse and the plug's good. So always the first thing you should check before you take something apart. But yeah, everything looks okay. So the only other thing I can think of, like I say, you did see the switch was crackling. So I think I might try the switch itself now. So we've got a switch up here. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that. So I've got my mains lead here. Sorry, on camera. So what I'll do now is I'll just trace out the actual mains lead and make sure there's not a break in the cable. So I'll just check the live first. Like I say, I have checked the fuse, so that's obviously where the problem's going to be on that side, if that makes sense. Yeah, so if the fuse is good, that means this switch should be good. So if I just probe up in there, we can see that the actual mains lead itself on the live side's good. And if I just test on the actual connector, it's difficult to do one-handed. Yeah, that's working. So we know the live side's working. We'll now try the neutral side. So yeah, good up to there. Yep, so our neutral's good up to there, but if I just check there and check on the plug, we can see that the neutral side of this switch is at fault. Yeah, power to there, but it's not coming through. And I don't know if you can see that because I'm really squashed in above my lighting there. That does look like some smoke potentially. Let's try and scrape that there. Yeah, difficult to get in there. I'll try swapping the camera with my hand. Yeah, that looks like it could have been smoke up in there. Right, okay folks, so I think what we need to do is swap this switch out. I'll need to see if I've got one that's suitable, but if I don't, just as a temporary measure until I can get an identical switch, I think what we'll do is we'll just join these two neutrals together and leave the live switched, or actually potentially just join the lives and neutrals together, obviously neutral to neutral, live to live, and totally bypass that switch, and you can just use the you know, the 13 amp socket switch on the wall until I can get that replaced. So what I'll do is I shall put it together, come up with like a plan, and I'll turn the video back on and we'll see if that works. See you in a minute. Right folks, welcome back. Right, okay folks, right, so what I've done is I was contemplating what to do, and this was the faulty switch, and I had to rake through my parts bin and I found this one, which is identical in dimensions, and it's rated for the same current, 6 amps. Now this is a double pole single throw, this is a single pole single throw, and I decided what I was going to do was I will securely join the neutrals together and just have the live being switched. And the reason for doing that rather than sourcing you know, a replacement switch is this case is doubly insulated. You know, it's all plastic, there's no exposed metal at all on it, so there's I mean obviously the aerial connectors and that, but once that's all plugged in and switched on, it should be fine, and there should be no risk of electrical shock because I'm going to make sure this is properly secured. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop this all in and you know, solder it up and make sure it's safe. So I'm just wanting to get the orientation the same way as well, with the obviously, well not obviously, these markings on here are just, I remember those were visible, you know, looking at the switch rather than the current rating. So I just want to get it in the same orientation so that power on is switching it to the left, so that my mate doesn't get confused. So what we're going to have to do first is actually pop this switch in, and this is going to be this tricky bit of it. And first of all, we will do the live side. In fact, no, it's probably going to be easier to join the neutrals. So I'm just going to sort of untwist these slightly, and I think I may just trim a little bit off. Oops. Now I've already pre-placed insulation on these leads just to make things a bit quicker for you, so you can see. Okay, right, so neutral first, and all I'm simply going to do is, without twisting them together, I'm just going to sort of push these in together, and once they're in together, then I'm going to squeeze it, give it a little twist, and get it so there's basically no stray wires or conductors knocking about. Now ideally I would have a set of helping hands, but I don't have those to hand, so I'm just going to have to hope for the best on this one. So if I just clean my iron and get a solder and just tin that up. Oops. There we go. Start to flow nicely. We want quite a bit of solder in here. We don't want any sort of dry joint. If I just leave that for a second. Just check the other side. Yeah, that's a nice joint. Now, I said I'd pre-positioned heat shrink in place, and a little tip, if you look here, these two pieces of heat shrink, sorry, on the neutral wire here, are the same diameter. But what I've done is, I've cut a small section, as you can see there, just short of a centimetre, and what that's going to do is, that's going to slide over the actual joint itself. If I can do that. So this might actually be quite tricky once the yeah, I'm just going to trim that very slightly. There's a slight bit of overlap on there. So yeah, there's my joint there. You see, solid, that's not going to move anywhere. So we'll slide this small piece of heat shrink over the actual joint itself. Now you can see that covers or fits perfectly in between the insulation. So we'll just take our heat gun and shrink that into place. Okay, so that's it nice in place, and what that's doing is giving it an additional piece of insulation, so there's less risk of that insulation, or the solder joint breaking through. So that's a little top tip for you. And there we have our outer piece of insulation on there now. So that's a nice secure joint that's going to do the job. So next thing we want to do is get this in position, make sure that the cable's going to have plenty of reach, and that's going to be fine. Again, we're going to have some insulation pre-placed. Now I've just realised I haven't put any on this side, so if you just bear with me, I should dig into my big bag of insulation. In fact I have, it's fallen off. There we go. Right, so now it's just going to be a case of soldering these live leads onto the switch itself. So for this I'm going to turn my iron up, just so I don't want to be messing about because it's plastic and I don't want to melt it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the middle out, so if that makes sense, so in between the two. Hopefully you can see that. I know it's not ideal, give me a sec, I'll try and adjust that somewhat. Yeah, I'm just going to put a slight bend in my twisted conductors, and then from the centre, middle of the two switch contacts, just feed that through. Okay, like so. There we have it. And similarly, we'll do the same with the other side of the live. So this is the feeds going to the actual power supply itself. Like that. Okay, so get our heat shrink out the way because we don't want that to foul up. And then it's just going to be a case of applying solder to the joint. And like I say, I've turned my iron basically up as high as it'll go. And get this done as quickly as we can. So just turn our iron, flow that in. And yeah, that's a nice silver joint. I'll just apply a little bit more to this side, just for added security. Now, I'll just trim this excess off here, taking care not to snip the insulation, and as you can see, that is absolutely solid. And similarly, we'll do the same with this side. Now, that's lying at a particularly funny angle, so we might want to put something on top of it just to stop it from moving. There we go, that should be good enough. And again, turn on, feed the solder in, apply the heat so that it flows. Inspector joint. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So, what I've done is I've placed two different sizes of insulation on here. A smaller one, smaller diameter, which is going to cover the insulation right up, and then a larger one which is going to go over the top like so. So if I can get this one out, I'll just use a snips. There we go. Right, so we shall now just give this a blast with the heat gun. Okay, so that's a smaller diameter. Now put a larger diameter over the top, like so, right up to the terminals. We'll shrink that, like so. And that is our switch replaced. This is where I find I haven't put it through the right way, but yeah, no, it all looks good. So that's it all nice and secure. Plenty of insulation in there. That's not going to cause us any problems. If we really want to, but yeah, let's just do it. We'll utilise little self-adhesive cable tie base, and if we just apply that on there and use a cable tie, like so. That just gives us a nice secure mains cable on it. Obviously there's strain relief here, but that's just an additional bit, and what that's going to do is if there was any risk of that breaking through the insulation, you know, it's got a bit of it's held to one side, so when this plugs into the power supply like so, because this toroid was just taped down here like that. Yeah, when this goes into the power supply board, you know, they're not going to branch together, or, you know, if the conductors break through. Anyway guys, I shall stop the video, put it together, and we'll see if that works. I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back folks. Right, I think we'll try this and see if it works. So we can see the power lights just come on, which is obviously a good sign. And if I press the power, that's now turned blue down the bottom right there. So yeah, pretty confident this is going to work now. So we see HDMI, and there's my menu. So happy days. So that was a nice successful repair there. If you found this video useful, give us a thumbs up, and obviously if you feel inclined to do so, please subscribe. But yeah, really good repair, that fairly simple. It might save you a few quid if you've got a similar fault on your Bush TV. I've never seen a switch like that fail before. So yeah, happy with that repair. See you again soon guys, bye.